All right, guys, so you have the Lifecycle Marketing Framework and you know how to apply it in your business. I guess that means we have pretty much done our job here and we are all set, right? Should be on your way. No, I'm of course just kidding. This framework is simple, but it is not easy, right? The concept is simple. We've got these 9 different stages and all you need to do is map them to your customer journey. But I pause because all you need to do is quite a simplification of what this process actually looks like. And we know that as entrepreneurs, there are always an infinite number of things competing for your attention. So I wanted to call out some potential obstacles in this module that we have seen derail entrepreneurs in the past, right? Things that might get in the way of your success, things that you probably have grappled with in the past, and that you can use this framework to actively avoid or to diffuse, right? So the first obstacle is that we often lose sight of the bigger picture, right? So as small business owners, as entrepreneurs, there's no shortage of tactics, of technology, or of different strategies that we can deploy in our business. And I know that as technology evolves, there's always a new shiny object for us to try out, whether it is messenger bots or webinars or push notifications or any other number of tactics. The key is to use this framework to help you understand where it would fit and whether or not it serves you, right? One question that Justin regularly asks with regards to any project or any layer of any project is this essential or is it enhancing? And if it's essential, of course it deserves our focus because we need it in order to get that thing done. But if it is simply enhancing, then it's not necessarily an urgent priority. It's not something that we do. It's not something that we'll let get in the way of getting that thing launched. It might be something that we add in the second version or in a later iteration, but it doesn't need to slow down progress in terms of getting that first version of the project live. So as you're undertaking any project, any aspect of your marketing or lead generation or fulfillment even, you should ask yourself where it fits in the bigger picture. Where in our comprehensive lifecycle marketing strategy are we currently focused? Because if we can agree that everything is boiled down to the customer experience and the journey that we have crafted for our customers, then our priorities should all be aligned with supporting and enhancing that specific journey. And if you find yourself focused on something that isn't directly related, of course, there may be elements of your business that need your attention outside of that, but this is a barometer, a temp check to help you stay focused on the most important activities that will actually drive meaningful results in your business. Okay, so the second obstacle we want to call out here is that it is possible to lose the thread between stages and deliver conflicting messages for our prospects and leads, right? And I see this happen oftentimes when segments of the customer journey are either developed with different owners who haven't aligned over the conversation that needs to be had at that point in their journey, or when sections of the customer journey are developed at different times and the business's priorities were different, right? So maybe you build a lead magnet, right? It's a mini course or an ebook or a video series that talks about some aspect of your business. And then it's working, it's generating leads, and then years later, you realize there's a gap between that lead magnet and the actual, conversion point. So you design a nurture funnel that helps bridge that gap, that helps stay in touch with them. But the question that a lot of people overlook is the nurture funnel a continuation of the conversation that was started with the lead magnet? And are those two elements having the right conversation to set somebody up for that ultimate conversion, right? Because if you develop those 3 milestones at different points, but they aren't aligned over the messaging and the conversation, you can deliver conflicting messages and your prospects simply won't know what to do, right? If we're asking them to do one thing in one email and something else in another email, oftentimes their default will be inaction because they're not sure where to go and they're not feeling led along that process. All right, so the third obstacle, the third challenge here that can get in the way of our progress is that we can create disjointed customer experiences. And what I'm talking about here is twofold. Number one, yes, from stage to stage, we want there to be an element of fluidity. We want the stages to feel natural and that there is a thread that ties them together so our customers don't experience, disruption as they transition between stages. So for example, right, if there's lots of messaging and clear communication on the front end as they're approaching the point of conversion, once they become a customer, we want to make sure that we are continuing that same high level of communication and transparency and setting accurate expectations, right? Too many businesses treat that conversion as sort of the end of the road, and then their actual customer-facing communication, once somebody has spent money with them, tends to drop off. So we want to make sure that the experience is fluid and is consistent, and that it's not disjointed in different sections of the customer journey from that respect. But the second element here, the second layer to this, is sometimes we pursue individual tactics, like a webinar or an evergreen webinar, right? And we design that to be its own experience. And maybe the webinar content is super valuable, but the overall value of this tactic is diminished because we didn't specifically tie it back into the overall experience, right? So this can happen for a number of reasons, but it often happens when we work with contractors who are tasked with specific projects, but may not have the entire landscape or the bigger picture of where that is going to fit. Or it just happens when we as individuals pursue an idea that we're proud of or compelled by, but we don't pause to assess where it might fit in the framework and deliberately design the transition points to get them back into that overall experience, right? As ideal as it would be for our entire customer experience to be one linear path, oftentimes there will be branches and offshoots, and that's fine as long as they are intentional and that we've used automation to make sure that those paths don't lead to dead ends, cul-de-sacs, or drop-offs. All right, guys, so those three obstacles are: number one, we lose sight of the big picture. Number two, we use conflicting messages. Or number three, we create disjointed customer experiences. And the good news is that as real as those obstacles, as real as those concerns are, the antidote is lifecycle marketing. This framework is designed specifically to help you avoid those things. So if you find yourself getting bogged down by one, or you find yourself working on a project that doesn't fit with the rest of that strategy, the answer is to go back to this LCM framework. The answer is to go back to this process of evaluating your existing customer journey and focusing only on the things that will make the most meaningful difference for both your customer's experience and also your business's bottom line.
Okay, so I want to call it just a couple things that Greg said here that are obstacles that we see get in the way of entrepreneurs having success all the time. The first one is losing sight of that big picture. So really, there's one simple question to ask yourself. As you get down into the details, it's important to pull your head back out and just ask, am I making meaningful progress toward my goals? Is the thing I'm spending my time, energy, and effort on, does it have a high likelihood to produce meaningful results in my business? If the answer is yes, then keep going and have confidence that you're doing the right thing right now. And then the other thing is really important is to look and see and celebrate all the things that you've already done. And not get too worried about the progress you've yet to make. As long as you've done positive things and you're making progress, celebrate those things and just get clear on why you exist in the first place, and are you in fact serving your customers, your employees, and is your business serving you back? That's the big picture. Don't lose sight of that. The second thing he talked about is a disjointed experience. So how do we prevent a disjointed experience from happening? Well, it's real simple for what you can do. Audit the experience, go through it yourself, have different members of your team go through it yourself. That's an important exercise for you to see what are my leads, prospects, and customers doing, and that'll give you clarity to know right away if something is off or something doesn't make sense. It's kind of like going into an old house that has carpet in one area and then linoleum in the next and then a wood floor over here, and it doesn't have a smooth flow through the house. You want to make sure that you've got something that makes sense for your leads, prospects, and customers. And as a really simple example, think about how movies are made. Movies are made in disjointed film shoots. They're actually filmed at different times. They're never filmed in the sequence. Yet the viewer experience is one that is not distracting and one that actually enhances you as a viewer. The same thing's true with what we're doing right now. Hopefully you're sitting here watching this and it actually is making sense to you and there is a seamless experience. But we have filmed this over different days in different locations with different people, obviously, at different times. And so it's important that we come back and we watch this from your perspective, the way that you're seeing it now, so that it just makes sense and it's not disruptive, and it's ultimately helping you have an enriching learning experience as you go through it. So you can let us know in the comments if we actually accomplished that or not. So keep those things in mind about keeping sight of the big picture and also how you audit your customer experience so you've got confidence that, okay, that's happening the way that I actually want. And then we'll see you in the next video.